Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Prasar Bharati. Coming up in the next hour. 17 hostages freed in the third and the latest exchange of hostages under Israel and Hamas truce deal. Tensions rise as North Korea deploys soldiers and heavy weapons near the South Korean border, post-military accord suspension. Former airline boss Christopher Luxon sworn in as New Zealand's Prime Minister along with his new right-of-centre government. Rescue operations underway to evacuate 41 trapped workers at the Silkyara tunnel. In the third and the latest exchange of hostages under Israel and Hamas truce deal, 17 hostages were freed on Sunday, which included 14 Israelis and 3 Thai citizens. More in this report.
It was an emotional reunion for these Israelis. Their wait was finally over. The latest batch of freed hostage returned to families on Sunday. Jubilant Israelis flocked in southern Israel, where hostages were brought for preliminary health checks.
The physical condition of the children and the mothers that came to us is now stable. They are undergoing a medical and emotional evaluation by the medical and psychosocial team of the Schneider Children's Hospital.
85-year-old Yafa Adar, embraced by her family in Israel, is now trying to think together how to help with her recovery.
I can say that she's tough, and I can say that she said that she was thinking about the family a lot, and that it helped her survive, and that she could hear the voices of the great-grandchildren calling her, and that it gives her a lot of power.
Another Israeli-Irish child hostage, Emily Korenberg, also reunited with her sister, Natalie Hand. Her father, Tom Hand, said that his daughter has lost weight but was doing better than expected.
We finally got Emily back from the hands of the Gazan terrorists. We're still fighting and want Raya Rotem, Yaya's sister, Hila's mother. We want her back. As they promised, they wouldn't release children without their mothers, but they did. We're in the hospital, Safra Tel HaShomer, taking care of Emily.
Sharon Avigdori and her daughter, Noam, from Kibbutz Be'eri, were also among the 13 Israeli hostages and 4 foreign nationals released on Saturday. Grandfather of 4-year-old American hostage Abigail Idan thanked US President Joe Biden for his role in bringing her home after more than 50 days in Hamas captivity. Abigail's parents were killed in front of her during the October attack in southern Israel. The 4-year-old is a dual citizen of Israel and the United States. She was the first American hostage freed by Hamas as part of a deal struck with the Israeli military. She was the youngest of the 10 Americans believed to be taken hostage after the October 7th attack by Hamas on Israel.
It was wow. I couldn't believe until I saw her. I simply could not believe it. Now I'm a bit more relieved. Not completely relieved, because there's happiness mixed with missing Abigail's parents.
Yes. US President Joe Biden is calling for the 4-day Israel-Hamas pause in fighting to be extended to allow for the release of more hostages.
Abigail was among 13 hostages released today from Gaza under the brokered and sustained, though intensive U.S. diplomacy. She's now safely in Israel, and we continue to press and expect for additional Americans will be released as well. And we will not stop working until every hostage is returned to their loved ones.
The latest 3 Thai hostages released from Gaza are in good health as per Thailand Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin. As 3 batches of hostages safely return to their next of kin, a question still looms on the safety of the remaining hostages.
Well, indeed, India's Sarah Coates joins us live from Tel Aviv. Sarah, what latest are you getting for us, and how do you see the situation after the ceasefire is over?
Hello there, Sid. Well, look, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he is under a lot of pressure to keep this ceasefire going. This is, of course, what the United States wants. And the Wall Street Journal is today reporting, citing people close to these negotiations, that Egypt and Qatar are once again trying to mediate fresh talks, which could actually see this ceasefire extended, which would potentially let out elderly women and also more women and children, along with repatriating the bodies of a number of captives who are believed to have been killed while in captivity. But look, it certainly seems as though the Israeli government will have a lot of discussion ahead of it today. We know that the War Cabinet is meeting a little bit later. And just in the last few minutes, the Prime Minister's office released a statement saying that it has the names of 11 people who are expected to be released by Hamas tonight. But Reuters is now reporting that there seems to be a problem on the Israeli side. They say there's a problem with the list of 11 names, while also difficulties Hamas is having with some of the names of these Palestinian prisoners that are also expected to be released a little later tonight. So it is yet to be seen whether this ceasefire will continue or whether it will actually expire at 7 a.m. local time tomorrow, being Tuesday. Certainly, as I said, a lot of discussion ahead with the Israeli government because there's so much pressure, as I said, on the Prime Minister to get as many of these captives back before this ground operation once again kicks off. Sid.
All right, Sarah, and what all is happening in Gaza during the ceasefire, and how are people managing their lives? That's very important.
It certainly is. Well, look, the humanitarian situation inside the Gaza Strip, according to the United Nations and also according to many aid groups, is dire and growing worse by the minute. Now, according to people on the ground, Palestinians who live in that coastal enclave, they say they've been using this time, this pause in fighting, to try and gather any belongings they potentially may be able to find in this period, also to resupply themselves with basic needs. We're talking here food and water, while also burying the dead, which there are many. Now, we do know that the Israeli military has not been allowing people who have been pushed down into the south of that strip to go north, saying that this is still an active military zone. We saw some incidents actually at the end of last week on Friday where the Israeli military reportedly fired at Palestinians trying to cross that river which divides the north and the south, people who were simply trying to get back to their homes. So it certainly is a dire situation for these people. We know that yesterday 200 aid trucks crossed through that Rafah crossing into the Gaza Strip. But just to put that into perspective for you, that is well below the 500 trucks that normally go through on a daily basis. This is, of course, before that blockade was put on the strip some 6 or so weeks ago. So the situation is bad. I'm not sure if you can see how terrible this weather is behind me, but that is the same kind of weather that they are experiencing right now in the strip. And we do need to remember that there are 1.5 million people, if not more, who have been displaced and are currently living without shelter, or if they have some shelter, it is just a little piece of canvas potentially above their head. So certainly a dire situation for these people.
All right. Sarah, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also visited soldiers in Gaza and had a word with them. Any updates on that? And coming on to what you were just saying, that is there any possibility that the ceasefire could be extended?
Well, look, that's what they're discussing. But from what we heard from the Prime Minister yesterday and what we've been hearing from the Defence Minister Yoav Gallant, he said that once this ceasefire ends, that fighting will resume with intensity. Now, the Prime Minister visited these troops inside the Gaza Strip yesterday. He said that we will return with full force. We are continuing until the end, until victory, saying that nothing will stop it. So it certainly seems as though Israel's military campaign will continue once this ceasefire ends despite growing international pressure. We do know that, of course, the United States, as I said, has been putting more pressure on the Israeli government to extend it, to let more aid in. But Israel continues to say that it wants to achieve its goal. Its stated goal is to eliminate Hamas inside the Gaza Strip. Sid.
All right, thanks for your analysis, Sarah. Israeli military has released a video on social media site X showing 8 trucks entering Gaza on Sunday. The IDF said 200 trucks entered Gaza on Sunday as coordinated by the aid agencies, 42 of which were loaded with shelter equipment. As part of this aid, some 3,600 tons of tents, blankets and mattresses have been transferred to Gaza ahead of the winter. The IDF further said that over 2,000 trucks have entered Gaza since the start of the conflict, transferring water, food and medical equipment. And UNICEF delivered the biggest aid shipment alongside the UN agencies, describing the situation of the Gulf people slaking their thirst as soon as water arrived. The organization made deliveries to hospitals where rations were controlled, which include supplies like high energy, biscuits, vitamin tablets and medical kits.
People are so desperate, right? You can see in adults' eyes they haven't eaten for a while. You can see that children are getting thinner and they haven't eaten for a while. And yet we're able to get to the hospitals, we're able to do the delivery, and then there's just this immense relief.
Relative calm remains in Sierra Leone after the government imposed a nationwide curfew on Sunday. This follows an attack on a military barracks by unidentified gunmen in the capital, Freetown. President Julius Maada Bio of Sierra Leone announced that the leaders behind the attack on a military barracks in Freetown had been captured.
In the early hours of this morning, there was a breach of security at the military barracks at Wilberforce in Freetown. Some individuals attacked the military armory and other locations in Freetown, including Pademba Road Correctional Center. In the event, prisoners escaped. The attackers have been repelled by a combined team of gallant security forces, and calm has been restored. Most of the leaders have been arrested.
And India's correspondent reports from Abuja.
Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio says his security forces successfully repelled the renegade soldiers who attempted to break into a military armory. In a televised address, he described the events as a breach of security and an attack on democracy without calling it an attempted coup. President Maada Bio warned that all those responsible for the attack will be held accountable. A nationwide curfew was declared after gunmen attacked the military's main and largest barracks, including a major prison holding more than 2,000 inmates. The country's Civil Aviation Authority urged airlines to reschedule flights, and a directive was reportedly given to close the borders. Sierra Leone has been tense since President Bio's re-election in June. The poll results were rejected by the main opposition candidate. In August 2022, at least 21 civilians and 6 police officers were killed in an anti-government protest in Sierra Leone, which is still recovering from a 1991 to 2002 civil war in which more than 50,000 were killed. President Bio said the protests were an attempt to overthrow the government. The events in Sierra Leone come at a time when democratically elected governments in West Africa have been overthrown by the military. About 5 countries have experienced coups since 2020. The regional bloc, the Economic Community of West African States, condemned the plot to disrupt peace in Sierra Leone. Ajak Mangut in Abuja, reporting for DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. North Korea deploys soldiers and heavy weapons at guard posts near the border with South Korea. Stay with us to know more. United States, Britain, along with some other countries, unveiled detailed international agreement on how to keep artificial intelligence safe from rogue actors. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky praises Ukraine's military for fighting Russian attacks.
A platform for the developing world, amplifying the voice of the global south with a focus on the growing economies, resolving the conflicts, showcasing the culture, tradition, heritage and diversity. Watch Voice of the Global South at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And North Korea deployed soldiers and heavy weapons at guard posts near the border with South Korea following the suspension of a military accord between the countries. Also warned it would continue to exercise the sovereign rights, including through satellite launches, while its troops were reported to be restoring some demolished guard posts on the border with South Korea. And DD India's Chris Gilbert joins us from Tokyo on this. Chris, what's the significance of the satellite launch and the fallout since?
Yeah, well, there's not really any surprises to be found here. North Korea did provide some notice that it was going to attempt another satellite launch sometime before December. It did so. It followed through on that just under a week ago. At that time, it said it was intended to launch more satellites in that window, which we've not seen yet, of course, but it is repeating those vows at the moment. The significance of all this, of course, is that move by South Korea in response to suspend Article 1, Clause 3 of the CMA, the Comprehensive Military Agreement that put in place no-fly zones in an attempt to de-escalate the whole region. And what we've seen in response from North Korea to that is, as you said, the reconstruction of some guard posts along the DMZ. North Korea always justifies, or for the most part, always justifies what it does militarily as in self-defense and the protections of its rights against what it perceives to be military assertiveness from South Korea and its allies like the US. So again, no surprises that it is reconstructing these guard posts, but certainly inflammatory behavior from both sides.
All right, Chris, but how is this likely to affect tensions in the region going forward?
Yeah, so it's hard to quantify hostilities between two countries, but if we look at the statistics, it's been a relatively quiet year from North Korea in terms of missile launches. You know, it's launched about half of what it did last year, which was, of course, a record year. So we've not seen the rise in tensions from the military side of things, but we have seen a simmering due to the maneuvering from both sides geopolitically. North Korea, of course, getting much closer and reaffirming and showing up its tide with Moscow, and South Korea, of course, expediting a warming of tide with Tokyo and with Washington as well. And so that has been the main driver of the tensions in the region this year. However, observers do say that it is a significant move by South Korea in terms of suspending that article of the CMA, symbolically, if not militarily, because it shows that South Korea, this current administration led by Yoon Suk-yeol, is not only not necessarily interested in pursuing talks with North Korea going forward, but actively abandoning articles and agreements that were keeping tensions on the region relatively low. North Korea has promised to always respond and protect what it says it is in own interests in the face of assertiveness and what it perceives as aggression. And so we may yet see more action and responses from North Korea in the future yet.
All right, on that note, thank you so much, Chris Gilbert, for joining in. Well, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday thanked Ukraine's military for fighting Russian attacks and its rescue services for tackling the consequences of extreme winter weather that he said had deprived about 400 settlements in 10 regions of power. In his nightly video address, Zelensky said relentless, intense battles were ongoing in the eastern regions of Donetsk and Kharkiv, while extremely challenging weather was affecting areas from Kiev in the north to Odessa in south in Russian-controlled territory. Oleg Khrushchev, a senior Moscow-installed official, said nearly 500,000 people were without power in Crimea, the peninsula Russia annexed in 2014. The Russian-installed heads of Crimea of the Black Sea port of Sevastopol and also the part of Kherson region under Moscow's control declared days off for Monday amid reports of high winds, flooded homes and snowbound roads and damaged buildings as well. Russia foiled a barrage of Ukrainian drones and also 2 missiles attack on Sunday. At least 24 drones were involved in the Ukrainian attack that targeted Russian regions like Moscow, Tula, Kaluga, Smolensk and Bryansk. A Russian newspaper daily also reported of flights being delayed or cancelled at Moscow's main airports due to the airstrike. And demand for tickets as well as prices have risen as people rush to the international bus station in St. Petersburg, fearing the closure of the Russian-Estonian border. Earlier, Finland had closed the majority of border crossing checkpoints with Russia, accusing Russian authorities of funneling migrants to the crossings. Estonia shares a 338-kilometer border with Russia that also serves as the EU's external border. The United States, Britain and more than a dozen other countries on Sunday unveiled what a senior U.S. official described as the first detailed international agreement on how to keep artificial intelligence safe from rogue actors pushing for companies to create AI systems that are secure by design. In a 20-page document unveiled on Sunday, the 18 countries agreed that companies designing and using AI need to develop and deploy it in a way that keeps customers and the wider public safe from misuse. The agreement is non-binding and carries mostly general recommendations such as monitoring AI systems for abuse, protecting data from tampering, and vetting software suppliers. Still, the director of the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency said it was important that so many countries put their names to the idea that AI systems needed to put safety first. And in the Gulf of Aden, a U.S. Navy warship served a commercial tanker from armed individuals, says U.S. officials. Identified as Central Park carrying phosphoric acid, the tanker's attackers weren't disclosed. The incident follows numerous attacks in the Middle Eastern waters due to the conflict between Israel and Hamas. The Liberian-flagged vessel operated by Zodiac Maritime Limited was involved in suspected piracy while crossing international waters near coast of Somalia with multinational crew on board. Britain's Maritime Trade Operations Agency, UKMTO, alerts vessels to be cautious in southwest Aden. In a graphical visualization by NASA's climate change time machine of what it is said to be Earth's rising temperatures amid poles ice melt, the representations of near-future Earth is alarming. The UN Climate Science Agency's major report in April 2022 outlined actions crucial for capping global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius. Despite the IPCC's repeated warnings since 1990, global emissions are still rising, putting us on track to surpass the 1.5 Celsius warming limit. The reality hit hard in the summer of 2023, which was record-breaking in terms of heat. With a global population facing vulnerability, drastic climate action is needed to prevent the dangerous ramifications, including the fast-warming Arctic and impending sea ice loss by 2035. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. A mass blind dating event was hosted in South Korea's Seongnam City in attempt by the local government to reverse a falling birth rate in the country. 198 out of 460 participants left the event as couples where they agreed to exchange contact with a partner. Pope Francis revealed that he had a lung inflammation as an aide read his Sunday message on his behalf during a live telecast from the chapel of his residence instead of St. Peter's Square. The Pope is still scheduled to travel to Dubai on December 1st to attend the United Nations Climate Change Conference.
Sono coloro che lo hanno servito nelle persone più deboli.
Heavy snowfall in Bulgaria has led to the closure of various roads since Saturday evening and has left more than 1,000 homes without electricity. Bulgarian meteorological authorities have issued a red weather warning as Storm Bettina brings heavy snowfall and stormy winds in 4 areas in northeastern Bulgaria. In Iceland, authorities have lowered the threat level in the coastal town of Grindavik from an emergency level to a danger level last Thursday, allowing residents to return home for several hours, with the expected volcanic eruption site moving a few kilometers away from the town. Iceland is bracing for a possible volcanic eruption after hundreds of earthquakes have rumbled the country's southwestern Reykjanes Peninsula for weeks. Nearly 4,000 residents in Grindavik have been evacuated and lava defense are being installed. And the 2023 Booker Prize has been awarded to the Irish writer Paul Lynch for his novel Prophet Song. Prophet Song tells the story of family grappling with terrifying new world in which the democratic norms they are used to begin to disappear. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Christopher Luxon, sworn in as New Zealand's Prime Minister, says top priorities to improve economy. North China continues to grapple with a surge of respiratory illnesses. How? We will tell you. Rescue operation underway in Uttarkashi to evacuate 41 trapped workers. Stay with us to get the details.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts. We demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
A platform for the developing world, amplifying the voice of the Global South with a focus on the growing economies, resolving the conflicts, showcasing the culture, tradition, heritage and diversity. Watch Voice of the Global South at these times on DD India.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world, one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour and I'm Siddharth Bhartwaj. Let's take a look at the headlines once again. 17 hostages freed in the third and the latest exchange of hostages under Israel and Hamas truce deal. Tensions rise as North Korea deploys soldiers and heavy weapons near the South Korean border, post-military accord suspension. And rescue operations underway to evacuate 41 trapped workers at the Silkyara tunnel. New Zealand's new government was sworn in on Monday, with Parliament expected to convene next week to work on new policies, including a new central bank mandate and lifting a ban on oil and gas exploration. New Zealand Governor-General Cindy Kiro swore National Party leader Christopher Luxon in as the country's 42nd Prime Minister, along with ministers of his cabinet at Government House in Wellington. The party signed coalition agreements with the Liberation Act in New Zealand and Populist New Zealand First on Friday, allowing the three parties to form a government, bringing an end to 6 years of left-wing governments in New Zealand. North China continues to grapple with a surge of respiratory illnesses, with many children affected. The spike became a global issue last week when the World Health Organization asked China for more information, citing a report on clusters of undiagnosed pneumonia in children, especially babies under 3 months old. China's National Health Commission has released lists of hospitals with pediatrics department in response to the surge in respiratory illnesses in children. The list includes Beijing Children's Hospital. The China's Health Ministry on Sunday urged local authorities to increase the number of clinics. And DD India correspondent Andrew Wood joins us from Hong Kong on this. Andrew, what is the latest update on the respiratory illnesses in North China right now?
Well, the authorities in Beijing seem to be taking it very seriously now, but they do say, or the implication is that although the outbreak is unusual, it's not unusually unusual in the sense that the germs, the pathogens, to use the technical name, that are involved here are flu, viruses, are other bacteria as well. They're stuff that doctors know about and know how to treat. It's not like it's something like, say, COVID was 2 or 3 years ago, something that was unusual, new, and people didn't know what to do about it. So the health service, or the health services, do seem to be under stress. The government seems to be accepting that. But at the same time, this was always going to be a difficult winter, the first winter after the end of COVID restrictions. Remember, COVID restrictions, as well as stopping the transmission of COVID, they also stopped the transmission of flu and many other similar illnesses too. So that's why we're seeing a lot more cases now compared to a year ago.
All right. And Andrew, what is known about the nature of the respiratory illnesses affecting children in North China?
Well, it seems to be a mixture of known bacteria and known viruses. At least that's what information that China supplied to the World Health Organization says that, and the World Health Organization seems to have accepted it. But of course, anything that happens in China, well, China lost a lot of credibility and trust after COVID. Remember, in the early days of COVID, it didn't give out a lot of information. The World Health Organization was also criticized for not being timely and transparent in the information it gave out. I remember, too, in China, the doctor who first identified the cases, identified COVID, was actually hauled in front of the police and told off and punished for spreading what they called rumors. He's now considered a hero in China, but it doesn't look good when you know, people who try and raise alarms on things are punished like that. And it's always, I think, going to leave an awful lot of skepticism about what China says and what's really happening.
Okay. Is there ongoing research or investigations into the cause of these respiratory illnesses, if you have some information about that?
Well, I think at the moment, every time there's a surge or an outbreak in any forms of common or reasonable, well already known bacteria and viruses, there will be more research. It seems at the moment that, as I say, nothing new has emerged. There's nothing that seems to nothing reported that seems to worry the doctors that they don't know what to do about it. I mean, there may be strain on the health service in China, but it seems that the response is pretty predictable.
All right, Andrew, thanks for joining in. And in a latest move, Malaysia has allowed visa-free entry to the citizens of China and India. The visa-free entry will be applicable for stays of up to 30 days starting from the 1st of December. The Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim made the announcement late on Sunday while delivering a speech at his People's Justice Party Congress. However, it was not made clear for how long the visa exemption would be applicable. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to Dubai, UAE to attend the World Climate Action Summit. PM Modi will be in UAE from 30th of November to 1st of December 2023 for COP28 at the invitation of Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of UAE and ruler of Abu Dhabi. The Conference of Parties provides a unique opportunity to impart momentum for collective action towards combating the shared challenge of climate change. Climate change has been an important priority area of India's G20 presidency, and COP28 will provide an opportunity to take forward the success of Delhi declaration. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday visited the southern Indian hill shrine of Lord Venkateshwara at Tirumala and offered prayers. The Prime Minister on social media site X said, and I quote, "At the Sri Venkateshwara Swami temple in Tirumala, prayed for the good health, well-being and prosperity of 140 crore Indians." Rescue operations are on in full swing to evacuate the 41 trapped workers at the Silkyara tunnel in India's northern state of Uttarakhand. Laser and plasma cutting of the auger machine is complete, and a short while ago, a team of 6 rat miners has entered the tunnel who will be manually digging into the debris. Meanwhile, senior officials from the Government of India, including Principal Secretary to PM P.K. Mishra, Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla, as well as Chief Secretary of Government of UK, took stock of the situation. A progress report is also expected to be submitted to the Prime Minister this evening. Well, DD India's Dibyendu Model joins us from Uttarkashi. Dibyendu, what latest are you getting for us as rescue operation is underway now?
Well, Siddharth, you know, this morning the auger machine was pulled out, and just a short while back, as you rightly said, the team of 6 rat miners have entered the tunnel that you can see behind me. They will be entering into the debris through the 1.2 meter diameter pipe that has been laid down, which is now being called as the rescue pipe. They will be going inside through the pipe. For two individual at 2 rat miners, I would say, at a time, and they will be working in 3 shifts, who will be going inside and digging into the debris to reach to the final breakthrough point where they can reach to the 41 trapped workers inside this tunnel. So the work is expected to begin soon. However, we have not got any official confirmation whether the work has started inside or not, but what we can certainly say you that just a short while back they have entered into the tunnel, and it is believed that within a very short span of time the manual digging work will begin in full swing. Not only this, the government and the rescue authorities are also deploying newer technologies every day. We just spoke to a robotic scientist here at Silkyara who has come from Lucknow with the latest artificial intelligence technology that will be deployed inside the tunnel and at a place where the 2-kilometer stretch where the 41 workers are stationed. What this technology will perhaps do is study and understand and monitor the workers' health, their environment for any kind of untoward health concerns, or that for that matter even hazardous gases inside, or any movement that could lead to a further calamity will be monitored by this artificial intelligence robotic technology that is going to be deployed very soon inside this tunnel where the 41 Indian workers are trapped. Having said this, the government officials, in fact, the top government officials from the government of India visited here this morning. P.K. Mishra, who is the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister of India, along with the Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla, as well as the Chief Secretary of Uttarakhand, Mr. Sandhu, had all come here taking stock of the situation, and they had also had a meeting with all the engineers and authorities who are undertaking this rescue mission here for about half an hour at the camp office that have been set up right here, which is about 50 meters away from the site where we are standing right now. The Principal Secretary, along with his team, left the spot about 35 minutes after the meeting, and is expected to fly back to Delhi by this evening and submit a progress report to the Prime Minister, who is closely monitoring the situation here from here at Silkyara. This is what we have at the moment about the rescue operation that is underway at the Silkyara tunnel here in Uttarkashi. Back to you, Siddharth.
All right, Dibyendu, thanks for your analysis. Moving on, 15 selected films are completing for the prestigious Golden Peacock Award at the ongoing 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India. The stellar lineup of exceptional films consists of 12 international and 3 Indian films, including The Party of Fools, Kantara. DD India's Shyama Mishra spoke to some of the jury members and acclaimed Indian filmmaker Shekhar Kapoor, who is also the chairperson of the jury.
We can understand from you the taste that has been developed here for the Indian content, for the Indian cinema, and the transition that has happened content-wise. How would you describe that?
So again, it will be more from the Film Bazaar side, because it's where I saw there are so many screenings of Indian films, and I see all the distributors from the world really getting here to try to find something. It's not so easy, because I think the international market is really looking for some gems. We are quite more independent films, and I'm not sure how many of the films shown at the Film Bazaar have been bought. But also, which is very important, is that there are a lot of projects, and it's the possibility for the international business to encounter and discuss with the young talent, the young filmmakers. That's a very, very important role of Goa, I think.
How would you say the level of film festival that we are hosting right now, because it's becoming bigger and better each year? So how would you describe that?
No, same thing. It's becoming bigger. The audiences are great. All over the world, the Goa Film Festival is becoming more and more important.
Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra was organized at Hathras district in India's Uttar Pradesh. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is the largest ever outreach initiative of the Government of India. Planned on the vision of inclusive development, it has been a constant endeavor to ensure that the benefits of the government schemes reach all in every corner of the nation, achieving 100% saturation. Camps were set up where people were given information about the public welfare schemes issued by government and its benefits. A video message about the schemes was also played. On this occasion, people were provided the benefits of various schemes, including Jal Jeevan Mission, Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana, and other health facilities. Ayushman cards were also distributed among the locals. Well, let's take a look at other stories making news. Indian President Draupadi Murmu attended the Boita Bandhan function in Bhubaneswar, a city in Indian state of Orissa. While addressing the ceremony, Indian President highlighted the glorious journey of Orissa and its maritime heritage.
Proceeding towards the flagging off area, greeting the Sadhu Bari.
The crest of Yacht Imphal, the third amongst the 4 project of 15B guided missile stealth destroyers, is scheduled to be unveiled in India's capital, New Delhi, on Tuesday. Imphal is the first indigenous destroyer warship to have the shortest time taken to build and complete its sea trials. The ship is scheduled to be commissioned into the Indian Navy by December 23rd. World-renowned sand artist Doordarshan Patnaik creates a beautiful sculpture of Lord Jagannath with the installation of 5,000 flowers at the Puri Sea Beach in Indian state of Orissa on the occasion of Kartik Purnima. And on the occasion of Kartigai Deepam festival, devotees of Indian state of Tamil Nadu witnessed an extraordinary display of community spirit by lighting clay lamps at the Dhyana Linga and Linga Bhairavi temples. Kartigai Deepam is a significant Indian festival celebrated significantly in southeastern region of India in remembrance of Lord Kartikeya. India has witnessed a resurgence in the production of traditional and indigenous items. Different state pavilions at the India International Trade Fair are showcasing the artistic indigenous toys. DD India correspondent Kriti Vadera reports.
India has a rich legacy in toy making. From ages, handicrafts have been a significant part of Indian culture and heritage. It is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's initiative and emphasis on vocal for local which has fueled an entire movement in India. Channapatna and Kinhal toys are a particular form of wooden toys native to Karnataka. These traditional crafts are also protected as a geographical indicator tag under the World Trade Organization.
The toys are very good. I want to buy all of them. This is the toy I bought. This is a very good toy. I like it. And I am playing with it also. I feel good to be here. There are very colorful toys and there are so many shops of various states of India.
Prime Minister Modi insisted on recognizing and appreciating the efficacy, richness and charm of the locally produced arts, crafts and utility products. As a result, India's first toy cluster has started in Karnataka.
I would really like to appreciate PM Modi ji that he is encouraging such an endeavor and promoting indigenous trade in our country.
Traditional toys from India are among many products that have been popular in various states for the culture, memories and craft they symbolize.
This pavilion of indigenous toys here at India International Trade Fair this time is bustling with shoppers. These Indic toys have the potential to entertain your children educationally, and it can also connect them culturally, appreciating their history. With camera person Radhe Krishna, I am Kriti Vadera reporting from New Delhi for DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. Coastal communities in Ghana's capital, Accra, are gradually being wiped out. Stay with us to know more. Yannick Sinner shines as Italy win Davis Cup triumph for the second time. And India is celebrating Guru Purab as the 554th birthday of Guru Nanak Dev Ji.
A platform for the developing world, amplifying the voice of the global south with a focus on the growing economies, resolving the conflicts, showcasing the culture, tradition, heritage and diversity. Watch Voice of the Global South at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coastal communities in Ghana's capital, Accra, are gradually being wiped out due to erosion. Environmentalists say the rise in sea levels linked to climate change is largely to blame. They're warning that the situation is likely to get worse if action is not taken to reverse the trend. DD India's correspondent Nabil Ahmed Rufai reports for more.
This house hanging over the cliff edge was once home to Bawa Seidu. He lived here with his family until the sea began to claim it.
When I was a young boy, the sea was very far from my house. Even during high tides, the sea never came close to destroying our houses. But when I turned 25 years old, I noticed that the sea had moved closer to my house and the tidal waves started to wash buildings away.
Ghana loses about 2 meters of its coastline every year to coastal erosion. According to UNESCO, nearly 40% of Ghana's coastal land was lost to erosion between 2005 and 2017. Hundreds of people in this community have already been displaced. Experts blame rising sea levels linked to climate change and other human activities.
A few years ago, this area was a drinking spot for partygoers who came to the beach. Now it's totally gone, and what remains are the pillars of the former recreation place.
The government has been responding to the situation by constructing sea defense walls along the shoreline, but the project has been halted due to the lack of funds. Experts say the country must turn to climate-adaptive measures, which are less costly.
Mangroves, cultivation can help, manage, the sea level rise and the impact of the sea in communities. So maybe we could start doing this kind of engagement or interventions whilst we expect, government to take action.
In 2009, developed countries pledged to contribute $100 billion in climate finance annually to help developed countries adapt and mitigate against climate change. The support was to begin in 2020 and end in 2025, but analysts are concerned the commitment has not been met, which is why developing nations continue to bear the brunt of environmental change.
They must also make available the appropriate technology, that we as Africans can use to address the impact of climate change. Of course, when it comes to technology, we're not talking about the green economy, the renewable energy, as replacement, for dirty fuel or fossil fuel, if you like. But we need technology, we need support to be able to implement those kind of interventions.
But these interventions are a long way from being realized, and all the while, the sea is eroding the land. Bawa Seidu is worried that his community may soon disappear. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, in Accra, Ghana, reporting for DD India.
On to sports now, where Yannick Sinner led Italy to Davis Cup triumph for the second time by a stunning performance. Sinner secured a straightforward 2-0 victory over Australia. Italy's #1 Sinner outclassed Alex de Minaur 6-3, 6-0 to kick off the celebrations as Matteo Arnaldi defeated Alexei Popyrin in the first singles clash. Sinner had saved 3 match points against Novak Djokovic in Saturday's semi-final with Serbia before beating the 24-time Grand Slam champion. He then beat Djokovic again and his partner Miomir Kekmanovic in the doubles with Lorenzo Sonego. Italy's first win was in 1976 in the elite men's team competition.
I came here with confidence, throughout the whole month I played, coming from Turin. I gave 100% all what I had, and I think the whole team, they pushed everyone of each other, and this is maybe our key why we are standing here with this trophy.
Australia captain Leighton Hewitt praised Sinner and called him one of the top players in the sport.
Yannick, he's played awesome all week. The last few weeks, to be honest, last few months. So he showed why he's a top 3 or 4 player in the world at the moment, and he backed up what he did, yesterday against Novak and played extremely good tennis. I think the conditions and the surface suit him perfectly as well, which makes life pretty tough. But I'm super proud of all the boys and the support staff and the team, and we did absolutely everything we possibly could have, and we've come agonisingly close yet again.
In cricket, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Ishan Kishan and Ruturaj Gaikwad shone brightly with quick-fire 50s, driving India to a commanding 44-run victory over Australia in the second T20I. With this win, India have surged ahead in the 5-match series, leading 2-0. The mascot, logo and jersey for the first ever Khelo India Para Games was launched on Sunday at the Zorawar Auditorium in Manekshaw Centre in New Delhi. The games are scheduled to be held from 10th of December to 17th of December 2023.
Para Games are not just about competition. They are also about celebrating the spirit of sportsmanship. They are about creating a platform for our para-athletes to connect with each other, to share their experience, to learn from each other, and to have a better competition at home and to prepare for the international games.
Guru Nanak Jayanti is being celebrated all over the world on Monday to mark the birth anniversary of the first Guru of Sikhism, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Gurudwaras on the occasion are lit up across the world as people celebrate this sacred festival.
India celebrates Guru Parv on 27th of November as the 554th birthday of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Nanak Jayanti is celebrated on the 15th lunar day of the Hindu month of Kartik. It marks a very important day for Sikhs worldwide. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also extended his greetings on the occasion.
गुरु नानक जी के अनमोल संदेश भारत ही नहीं दुनिया भर के लिए आज भी प्रेरक और प्रासंगिक है। ये हमें सादगी, सद्भाव और दूसरों के प्रति समर्पित होने के लिए प्रेरित करते हैं। गुरु नानक देव जी ने सेवा भावना, सेवा कार्यों की जो सीख दी, उसका पालन हमारे सिख भाई बहन पूरे विश्व में करते नजर आते हैं। मैं मन की बात के सभी श्रोताओं को गुरु नानक देव जी के प्रकाश पर्व की बहुत-बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूं।
The Indian ambassador to the United States, Taranjit Singh Sandhu, celebrated the auspicious festival at a Gurudwara in Long Island, New York. The first Guru of the 10 Gurus, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, is the founder of Sikhism, and the day honors his teachings and wisdom. Members of the Indian community in Sri Lanka attended Kirtan, chanting of musical hymns organized by the cultural arm of the High Commission of India. The Kirtan was performed in the Gurudwara Sri Guru Nanak Darbar in Colombo. Devotees also thronged the Gurudwara to offer their prayers. The celebration is well known for its fervent devotion, spiritual gatherings, and the recitation of hymns from the Guru Granth Sahib, the holy scripture of Sikhism. With Bureau Inputs, Kirit Chawla's report for DD India.
All right, and that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram also. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.